All right, guys, today's the day. We're taking call-ins. We talked about this a ton, even right when we started out doing this, and today we finally get to see it. I'm super duper excited. Like Jackie Schaefer said, this moment came to me in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you?
Are you jacked and tan about it?
I'm super jacked.
I'm super jacked and pale about it.
You're super jacked and somewhat pale, but also somewhat tan.
I can't do anything about the second part, but I can get jacked.
Dude, I don't know. You got some tan in you.
Did like 500 push-ups.
You got some
over
tan
the
in
break.
you. I mean, his real name's Tanner.
That is true. You are Tanner.
Yeah, so he's technically jacked
First
and
of
tanner.
all, don't be using my government, especially on a Friday. Let's grow up.
Well, we know it doesn't start. Look, the under's at what today? How many times can I say it?
Jeez, we're going back to 3.5.
We're going back to 3.5. The disrespect.
Your performance last week.
The disrespect. I do want to say, guys, with call-in shows, typically sometimes, people, they say something when it's their first time calling in. We got to come up with something that the caller says when it's only their first time calling in.
Okay.
And I think I got something.
Okay.
The trust tree.
The trust tree, okay.
Say trust tree. All right, good. You say trust tree, we know it's your first time. Welcome in. All right, come on and sit down. You want some hot cocoa? Some cookies? We got some of them Keebler elves running around just whipping up some of those Thin Mints or whatever.
The real Santa Claus situation.
It's a real Santa Claus situation. Bills safety Damar Hamlin is alert and communicating after suffering cardiac arrest against the Bengals. TCU star running back Kendre Miller is listed as questionable for the Natty. And like I said, we debut the Booster Club call-ins. Oh boy, I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Nobody gave TCU a shot versus Michigan last week, except for me here on Crane & Company and probably 3 other people and 2 aliens. And even though they were in the college football playoffs, there was still a cloud of doubt on whether or not they even deserved to be there. Well, they disproved that in a hurry against the Wolverines pretty quickly, and after catching a few breaks, they now find themselves going against a Georgia roster that is more loaded than an NRA convention in the national championship. Now, the Bulldogs are the better team, and Las Vegas agrees as the line opened at 13.5. TCU was able to sneak up on Michigan, which is evident considering Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy said they were going to turn the game into a smash fest if TCU ran their normal defensive structure. Now, will they be able to do the same against Georgia? In most circumstances, I'd probably say yes. But there's one big problem this time. Georgia not only played some close games during the regular season, including against Kent State, but they're coming off a subpar performance against the Buckeyes in the semifinal. They have a quarterback that went from rags to riches and is the ultimate underdog. They are impossible to sneak up on. I believe the game will play out as follows. TCU will come out hot early. I wouldn't be surprised if they're leading or tied after the first quarter, or it's really, really close. But then the switch will flip for Georgia. The Dogs won't make the crucial mistakes in crucial situations like the Wolverines did. This offensive line won't be confused by the 3-3-5 look, and the defense will shut down the run, making the Horned Frogs one-dimensional. TCU OC Garrett Riley will try to supplement that lack of run game with quarterback design runs for Max Duggan, Q Power, Power Read, true 11-on-11 ball. And a few of them will pop, but it won't give them the push they need to keep Georgia off balance defensively. Eventually, the dam will break on the TCU defense like it did against Michigan, and this game will be over with 10 minutes to go in the fourth. TCU's had a hell of a story in 2022, but it stops Monday night. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, soon-to-be father of 2, David Cohn, who we also think is David Michigan. He'll tell us eventually.
I've talked to him once. I don't know.
I'm sure you have. It's called a mirror. Then, it's obviously Friday, and we know who's sitting to my right.
This is flaming chocolate!
Yes. The over-under is 3.5. All right, if you don't know and you're new to the show, I can't say his real name on Fridays over 3 times. I'm going to try not to say it once. I refer to him as Flaming Dragon.
You can't say what?
Don't do this to me. You already said Ohio State, so I don't want to hear it.
You did say that.
Flaming Dragon, how are you feeling this morning?
Doing phenomenal.
You excited?
Definitely not mediocre.
Definitely not mediocre. Are you excited about the phone call situation?
I am. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Is your violence level going to be high or low?
Well, violence, peace, remembrance, toughness.
They're all words.
You know,
They're in the dictionary.
books,
Yeah,
Bed Bath and Beyond.
of course.
Yeah.
And Home Depot if we have time.
Not
Conathan,
Saturday yet.
Conathan, when you look at this TCU Georgia matchup, Kirby has built Georgia, used the blueprint that Saban built at Alabama. It's not about who you're playing, it's about yourself. Obviously, there's a lot of hoopla. It's the national championship game. Georgia has the better team. I think we can agree with that. I do think it's going to be harder, as I mentioned, for TCU to sneak up on Georgia the way they did against Michigan. For TCU to win this game, which there is a shot for them to win this game. I mean, look, it's one game. We've seen what can happen in one game. I feel like the scramble drill plays are when the play breaks down, are Max Duggan recognizing its man and taking off. They are going to have to catch breaks like they did against Michigan. Georgia cannot play well. If Georgia plays well, I don't see TCU winning. But it's those scramble drill and broken down plays, not only for Max to take off and run, but find guys open. And we've seen Georgia's front seven get locked up like they did last week against Ohio State.
Like you said, Georgia's not going to play a perfect game. No one ever plays a perfect game. No team. TCU's not going to play a perfect game. What is the type of game Georgia has to play for TCU to be able to win the football game? That's what I'm asking, because all Kirby Smart has done over the past few years is shown in the biggest games, his team is always ready. They don't look past anyone for an entire game. They don't look past anyone for an entire play. The timeout call on that fourth down that we saw when they were playing the Buckeyes is just proof of that and testament to how involved he is at every single position. What does TCU need to do to win the game? Obviously, we've heard that their star running back, Kendre Miller, may be out.
I don't think he's going to play.
Look, obviously, they're going to have to put up points. So I'm not even going to concentrate on their offensive side of the ball right now. I think it all comes down to getting pressure on Stetson Bennett. If you can somehow get to him a few times early, maybe rattle him. Stetson Bennett has proven he has a lot of gunslinger in him. Maybe you can turn him over once or twice and then allow your quarterback, Max Duggan, to at least go capitalize on that. Even then, you find yourself up, what, in the best case scenario, 14? Guess who else was up 14 on Georgia last week? So they don't have any room for error. They have to do a lot right.
I agree. Flaming Dragon, you beat teams like Georgia with balance, because when you're balanced, they're off balance. If TCU cannot run the ball effectively, and I'm not saying they got to run for 250 yards, but if they can't threaten Georgia in the run game and they are stuck in 3rd and 6 and above, and you let those guys pin their ears back, not only the exterior pass rushers, but the interior pass rushers, and I'm not even talking about the blitz with what Schumann and them are going to do, TCU cannot survive that way. That's how you turn the ball over. You are going to have to find balance on offense, and I think you got to make a big play on special teams.
Well, I think Max Duggan's feet's going to be huge in this game, especially on 3rd down. I mean, Georgia scored almost 40 points and they went 2 and 10 on 3rd down, which is unheard of, right? I mean, if anything, go back to the Michigan game, TCU has to be able to win in the red zone. You have to give up field goals in this game. You need an early win if you're TCU, like you got that early win in the Michigan game when you got the 4th down stop at the 2-yard line or 2 to 5 yard line, whatever that is. With the Stetson Bennett, it's pick your poison with this. If it's Stetson, I want to keep Stetson in the pocket. All right, beat me with your arm. And Stetson's been beating with people with his arms, but Stetson, I still think, is his best when he is outside the pocket. And let's not sit here and act like Georgia's not a little bit banged up. All right, Darnell Washington a little bit banged up. Lab McConkey a little bit banged up. Also, yeah, Brock Bowers and Mims comes back, but you don't have a huge amount of playmakers on that offense. Ohio State did make Georgia honor.
A.D. Mitchell coming back.
A.D. Mitchell's huge, but they did make him honor. Ohio State ran the ball 32 times. Right, average 3.5 yards a carry. Not phenomenal, but you have to.
You'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, but you have to honor that, all right? TCU needs to be somewhat in that same vein with the amount of runs, but I want to see a lot more of Max Duggan playing quarterback runs, especially in the red zone. Yeah. Max Duggan getting outside the pocket. If you're TCU, you just want to be in shooting distance in the 4th quarter to be able to win this game.
Yeah, the point I like that you made the most was withstanding that early punch like they did against Michigan. Michigan hit them for that 60-yard play on the ISO. They hold them there in the red zone. Then you get the pick 6, letting you know you can stay in the fight. But Georgia's going to come out and try and throw a punch. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a couple trick plays from TCU on that first drive just to get Georgia thinking a little bit and change their eye discipline. I do want to get to the Boost Club in 1 second, but with the calls, we will start taking calls, all right, at 7 o'clock Central. All right, that's 8 a.m. Eastern. The phone number can be found on our social media accounts. I've almost got it memorized in my head, and we will tweet it out live at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Remember to keep it clean or we're going to have to cut you off and we're not going to be able to welcome you back. Also, we are super jacked to have Jeff Foxworthy on the show Monday to preview the Natty. You're not going to want to miss it. Flaming Dragon, Booster Club, questions, answers, thoughts, and emotions.
Let's go to Jordan Kilgo. Will go $10 donation. Appreciate it, Jordan. He says, great job on Locked on Auburn yesterday.
Thank you.
Jake,
there you go.
Do you like Brennan Armstrong or Spencer Sanders more for Auburn? Also, did you like the megacast format for the playoffs?
I didn't watch the megacast format. I want to watch the game the way that I've always watched the game. All right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Half the time when I turn the game on, I hit mute on the TV. All right, because I like watching with that. Some announcers I won't. Like if Kublik or some of those guys are on there, Tom Luganbill, like Jordan Rogers, some of these guys, I'll listen. Most of them, I will not, though, because half the time they're wrong. They get the penalties wrong. I mean, hell, Andre Ware didn't understand what roughing the kicker is, doesn't know the difference between the plant leg and the kicking leg. I'm not sitting there listening to that for 3.5 hours. It's like the part on Billy Madison when he asked them, the question about industry, and he talks about the puppy who lost his way. We are now, at no point during your rambling did you even resemble something close to a rational answer. I award you no points. We are all now dumber after listening to that, and may God have mercy on your soul. So no, short answer, I did not watch the megacast. Always enjoyed going on with Blackerby on Locked On. I stay locked in on Locked On with Zebo over there. That was a lot of fun. Between Brennan Armstrong and Spencer Sanders, instinctually, give me Brennan Armstrong, just because I think his potential. They both put the ball in harm's way. All right, Spencer is older. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. But when it comes to Brennan, I know Spencer can run, but Brennan can really, really run. And Brennan is built to be able to withstand more hits than Spencer is. Now, you've seen some people talk about Brennan Armstrong maybe going to NC State or something like that. I've seen that as well. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them, but if I had to pick, give me Brennan Armstrong. That Virginia offensive line couldn't block somebody on Facebook these past couple years, and he was still able to do some things. So give me Brennan.
All right, I love it. Let's go to Trust Tree Squirrel.
Yes.
$50 donation.
Thank you, Trust Tree Squirrel.
Bombs. All right, on squirrels in general.
Yes.
Some squirrels are surely not to be trusted. They embrace the dark side and promote false sides and teachings.
Yes.
Light side squirrels battle them where we can, but we're vastly outnumbered. Trustee is safe for us, so we hide our acorns there.
Look, Trust Tree Squirrel, we have your back. We've got some. Here's what I will say. When coaching in Iowa and some of these other places, have you ever seen the squirrels, like the black squirrels that look like demons?
Can I tell you yes?
Yeah, you don't have them in Michigan? You don't have black squirrels in Michigan?
I'm trying to rack my brain right now.
I know, man. They used to scare the hell out of me. Like, I thought it was a little demon looking at me. I used to be, walking to campus, walking to the office, getting ready to go in there and talk a little football, and all of a sudden I got these little, evil, demonic, Bagul-looking squirrels just staring at me. And we all know they talk. All right? We all know they squat up. What's more horrifying than getting jumped by a group of squirrels?
Maybe this was a Home Alone situation, like the South Bend Slayer. You saw something demonic that really wasn't there. Maybe that squirrel saved your life later.
Maybe he did. I don't know. It's a good question.
All right, let's go to Travis Elrod. # Ask Crane Company. Appreciate it, Travi. Says, do you think Sonny Dykes wants the underdog role?
You always want the underdog role if you're a coach. It makes it easier to get motivated. The two things I always wanted was either A, be the underdog, or 2, have the other team talk trash and question our manhood. Those are the two things. I don't even have to motivate you. I don't have to come up with some, lemony snicket adventure way to get you, motivated to go out there and play well. To me, I would always embrace the underdog role, the chip on the shoulder role. Hell, they keep saying Bryce Young's underrated. That Nick Saban is the best ever at turning a giant. It's like Walmart saying we're underappreciated. It's mental gymnastics. But Sonny Dykes and them, here's the hardest thing. When you go from the hunter to the hunted, and he's talked about this on multiple occasions. Right now, TCU is still the hunter. You win this game, you're the hunted. Guys, TCU didn't even win the Big 12. Okay, so I don't think they're going to be in the hunted role next year, to be honest with you. So I think it's something Sonny Dykes can embrace. I think they've already embraced it. Last week, like I said, J.J. McCarthy basically said, pull up. We think y'all are soft. And TCU pulled up and whipped out the glizzy. I'm not talking about the hot dog.
All right, Coney, Matty Ice, 1994. Does Stetson become a backup in the NFL, or is he a practice squad type?
He'll definitely get a shot. I think he could be a backup. The question is that I was wondering this week, will he get drafted or will he be a free agent? What do you think? Late round guy or just an automatic free agent?
Mr. Irrelevant?
I think he's a free agent.
Yeah.
I think he's a free agent.
It feels like that,
look,
right?
It's not that Stetson won't get a cup of coffee or he won't get a shot. I don't think Stetson's an NFL quarterback. And look, he's been the underdog his whole life. Nothing would shock me. But when I look at Stetson, I think Stetson Bennett will go down as one of the best college quarterbacks from a national championship standpoint, from a turning a sleeping giant into the giant they want to be, or playing the polka flute, as we call it on here. Sometimes you're just a fantastic college quarterback.
Yep.
That's just how it rolls.
Yep.
Okay, Cone, I want to go ahead and get to some updates.
Let's do it.
Before we get to this NFL preview.
Let's do it. Bills safety Damar Hamlin is alert.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, he's communicating in writing with his family. First thing he asked, did we win the football game? The doctor said, you won the game of life.
Man, this is so awesome. It just shows you the power of prayer. And I know some people think that's cliche, and that's fine. You can believe what you want, but I believe it really does help. It's a great comeback story. I want to give credit to the first responders on the field and the doctors that worked with him. They deserve as much credit as anybody, but I'm so happy for Damar. At the end of the day, football is a game, all right? Life and death is life and death. That is the most important thing. Damar Hamlin's able to see his family again. He's able to live his life to the fullest. Very interested to see what he does now, but I'm just so excited for Damar and his family and for the NFL and for the game of football, David. And for the game of football.
So now that you mentioned the trainer, I wanted to say this guy's name, the man who administered CPR, his name, he was an athletic trainer for the Bills, Denny Kellington. And they said his speed and skill were absolutely vital for Damar Hamlin to be able to recover like this.
Unbelievable job. Kudos to you. That's why you always have to stay ready. And we talk about the importance of first responders all the time. They're never going to get enough credit. They will never get enough credit. This is just another instance of being prepared, being professional, and having the right people in the right places. So kudos to him and to everybody in the Bills organization that were able to handle that, and the Bengals as well.
Along these lines, the NFL will not resume the game between the Bills and the Bengals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of consideration right now. Should there be a neutral site AFC championship? There was even some talk about potentially one of the team gets to pick home field advantage and the alternate gets to have the bye. Maybe, something like that. So the NFL is still considering this. I'm sure we're going to break it down all next week. And then obviously fantasy implications on this too.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the fantasy stuff. I like the neutral site game.
For the AFC championship. If these two teams make it or just... Okay.
Yes. If these two. If the situation leads to that end.
Okay.
And the longer, Blaine said it yesterday, the longer this went on, the wild card starts January 12th.
Yeah.
Okay, so the longer this went on, the more impossible it was going to be for them to make it up. It's a crazy circumstance, and desperate times call for desperate measures. I think we all saw this coming. The minute, and I think they should have, but the minute that Buffalo left after that game, the minute those players left, that game was not getting played again. So it kind of is what it is at this point. Give me the neutral side AFC championship.
Blaine?
I agree. I don't think this game will get played again. The NFL, man, it's just a tough situation all around. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't push the play.
Yeah, and I want to say something too when it comes to the Skip Bayless tweet situation. Obviously, us and our buddy Matt Walsh disagree on kind of the way it went down. I want to make sure we understand the difference between trying to cancel somebody and critiquing the timing and the wording of something. You don't always have to be some big, tough, I'm never emotional guy. Sometimes there is a time and a place to say something. It's not that Skip Bayless and his tweet should get him canceled or fired. I don't believe in that. You don't believe in cancel culture. But that still doesn't mean that you can just do anything at any point in time and be disrespectful and I got to be cool with it. That doesn't make you cool. It doesn't make you oblivious. It doesn't make you different. What we said was the timing and the wording was not appropriate, in my opinion, at that time. That's my opinion. Would I have done it? No. Should I think that dude get burned at the stake professionally for it? No. Nobody's saying that. The people that are whining and getting him fired, I agree with what Matt said. But let's not act like you can just go around and everything's just okay all the time. You're in the hospital? Like Blaine said, how much is the hospital bill? That's not the first thing you ask. So there is a line of respect that you have in certain situations. Doesn't make you soft, that doesn't make you stupid, that makes you human, and there's nuance to every situation. You can't paint every situation as a blank general statement. So that's where we disagree, and I'm glad we disagree. The sit in the Soviet Union, there's some networks where everybody has to agree on everything, regardless of what they really think deep down inside. So I just wanted to
still think
that.
Skip Bayless achieved his goal.
Oh, he did, 100%.
I want to be the 10 millionth tweet to say, hey, we're praying for Damar Hamlin. I want to be the first tweet to say something controversial enough that everyone's talking about me, but not so controversial that I get fired. Mission accomplished. That's why I don't watch Skip Bayless.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's a big problem. You turned it into something about yourself.
There you go.
Like I can sit here and say that as a man. I don't want you to get fired, but you made that about yourself.
Yeah.
You 100% made it about yourself.
Quickly, Texas basketball did go ahead and fire Chris Beard. Remember, he was arrested, what was this, a month ago? Maybe 6 weeks, something like that. I think it was last month. Arrested for battery charges against his fiance. Texas did their due diligence. Now they've let him go.
Yeah, here's my thing with Chris Beard. So, and I know that the officials at Texas probably know more than we do, but you had the man get arrested, okay, for apparently strangling his fiance. All of a sudden, the fiance comes out, all right, and says that Chris did not strangle me, and I told that to law enforcement that evening. Chris has stated that he was acting in self-defense, and I do not refute that. I do not believe Chris was trying to intentionally harm me in any way. Now, Texas, the administrators and the people that fired him said that his behavior was unbecoming of the head coach and he shouldn't be the head coach. So my thing is, if I'm accused at any point, then I'm screwed.
Yep.
Like if you accuse me at any point, I'm screwed. So I guess if these charges get dropped and I'm Chris Beard, I would sue the University of Texas for every dollar that they had. For every dollar that they had. They're still reviewing the matter, all right? And I'm not saying that Chris didn't do anything, but if we're going to sit here and say, okay, well, you can say this, have me arrested, then say it didn't happen, but I still get fired, that's BS to me. That's not the way the justice system works. I know Texas can hire and fire who they want. I totally get that. This, to me, is a reaction off an action. And the action was her calling the cops. So if I'm gonna say this again. If a woman or a man calls the police on a domestic violence charge or a sexual assault charge or the R-word charge, which I'm not saying on YouTube, and it turns out that they refute it or it didn't happen, that person should have to serve the sentence that the person they accused would serve. That would stop all this. Did Chris Beard do something? Probably. But that's not the way it works in this country. You're innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty or you're innocent.
You are right. Texas can hire and fire whoever they want, but they are withholding the 20+ million that he would have had in guaranteed money because of a contract.
I want 100.
That's different. But doesn't it feel like a situation where he did something that was a fireable offense, but because it's with a fiance and not a random stranger, they've changed their mind and don't want your fiance to
Well, here's my thing. If we don't allow circumstantial evidence in a case, if we say that you have to prove that this happened, your evidence has to prove that this happened, it has to be legit evidence, we can't sit here and make up hypothetical scenarios about situations, because at that point, if that's the case, all men are guilty all the time.
But they may have that.
Here's my thing. If Texas is able to prove, and they know stuff that I don't know, I'm going off what's being reported. If Texas is able to prove that he did something, then he should be fired. But if these charges get dropped, and he does not have probation, he doesn't have to pay a fine, he doesn't get arrested, that's bullcrap. That's bullcrap. So then just accuse anybody.
Yeah.
Then anybody can accuse any then what's going to stop some Auburn fan, some woman from just walking in by Nick Saban's house saying he walked outside and punched her in the face.
And then calling it on
And then calling it on Feinbaum saying he punched her in the face.
Calling it on Creighton
Then the cops show up. Oh, yeah, he punched me in the face. He beat the hell out of me. And then they go to the police station and all of a sudden she made it up. What, are you going to fire Nick Saban? I bet they don't.
Blaine, Chris Beard got Texas to number 2 in the country.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
$5 million a year.
Yeah.
This is quite a fall from grace.
Well, he's going to get picked up somewhere, that's for sure. I think Chris Beard's a hell of a coach, and I don't think we don't know enough. And we don't know. For them to fire Chris Beard, there has to be something. Because there's no way you can just get accused of something, it not be true, and then you get fired. There's no way. Well, I guess there's way in today's society. That's basically how it is. But they have to have something on Chris Beard that's fireable offense. Well, it's in his contract or whatever it was. This is obviously not a good look. It's never a good look when you get in these situations. And if you're a man who's in a head coaching job at a university, anytime you're in a situation like this, even if you're guilty or not, which sucks, they are going to fire you. They are, because you're a leader of what? You're a leader of man, and your image is based off what the university wants. So a girl, your wife, fiance, whatever, can lie on you, can come out and say she lied, but at the end of the day, that stigma is going to still be in the public, and they're going to fire her.
Well, look, if Chris, let's not beat around the bush. If Chris Beard's not a white guy, he's probably not fired. Juwan Howard punched a guy after a game on the court in front of God and everybody and didn't get fired. So I'm just telling you right now.
Well, the head coach of the Celtics basically got fired because he had that thing with that girl. So.
Well, that was proven. Mm-hmm. Like that, they both admitted that they didn't.
But we don't know if anything with Chris Beard's not proven yet.
But it's not proven yet.
Yeah.
Like the person said it didn't happen. If I would agree with you, if the woman that they said Ime Udoka hooked up with the Sultan said that didn't happen. We never did that. Or if he said, I didn't do that. No, they said, yes, it happened. All right. It was adulterous, but that's not what got him fired. What got him fired or, suspended, whatever you want to call it, is that they didn't disclose that to HR in the organization. Those are two totally different situations. But let's not beat around the bush. The string would be a lot longer if Chris Beard wasn't a white guy. You can say what you want, but that's
the
what
Juwan Howard situation was certainly a fireable offense, and we talked about that because that's right when we moved here. It was certainly a fireable
Tony
offense.
punched a guy. They fired boy from for punching the guy on the sidelines. I can't remember his name. Not Bo Schembechler. Woody Hayes.
He punched a player
Woody
in the
Hayes
face from
punched a
Clemson.
player. Punched a player, but still punching a player, punching a coach.
That it was a fireable offense. I said that at the time as Michigan's head basketball coach. Like if I were the AD, he probably wouldn't have made it past the tarmac. But it wasn't a situation that I guess Ward Manuel, the AD, there thought was so bad that what they did was they suspended him for the rest of the season. But then he got to coach in the tournament basically.
Yeah,
so
it was. I just think this whole situation, like, there's still more that has to come out. But it's just, if somebody says something didn't happen and then you fire somebody over it without it being proven, I don't think that's right.
Two more quickly. Actually, while we're talking about Michigan, new NCAA investigations coming down potentially on the football team with Jim Harbaugh. Maybe this was part of the reason he was looking at some different NFL teams. Look, here's what I'll say. If rules were broken, there needs to be punishment, right? That if we're going to uphold rules around college football through every single program, then there needs to be a punishment for that. I find it really hard to believe, like, how is it that the NCAA provides zero accountability and leadership on the transfer portal, on name, image, and likeness, on conference realignment, on playoff expansion, but then somehow wants to be able to dictate which coaches can talk to players and which ones can't? The NCAA provides no leadership. They are persona non grata, and basically they've allowed the college football playoff to just be in charge of college football now.
Yeah, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, what are y'all going to do to me? Like, you guys are impotent now. What are you going to threaten me with a squirt gun? Like, what's the NCAA do? Like, you told me before the show, if I'm Jim Harbaugh and they looked at me and said, you're suspended 2 games, I'd be like, no, I'm not.
I'm going to go coach.
I'm going to go coach. What are y'all going to do? I saw Penny Hardaway do it to y'all. Y'all didn't do nothing at Memphis. Penny Hardaway was like, nah, I'm not going to serve that suspension. Y'all didn't do anything. Look, the NCAA is that person. It's that person that's been rich their whole life, got to make all the rules, everything they wanted, it went their way. Then all of a sudden, they're bankrupt and still think they can talk to people like they used to. It is a dying breed. They're going the way to the dodo bird, and it couldn't happen to a better group of people. It couldn't happen to a better group of people. You guys don't care about the players. You care about the same thing the NFL cares about, and that's just money. You're fake, you're fraudulent, and you're almost extinct, and I hope every night it hurts. I hope it hurts every night when you guys go to bed. What a corrupt organization. Absolutely incredible. Okay, Flaming Dragon. Guess what? Now.
You're already at 2.
I didn't say your name.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Who's keeping count?
You're already at 2.
I feel like this gets overinflated. I don't think I said it twice.
Look, I put my trust in the Booster Club. That's what I live by.
Yeah, and wait till you hear the way he talks about y'all behind y'all's back. We are 15 seconds away from being able to take live calls. So make sure you call in, keep it clean. Here's our Huddle Up segment.
Oh, you want to do Huddle Up?
Let's do Huddle Up
real
quick, David, because this one's fantastic. David Cohn is speaking the lingo, helping you win the water cooler. Hey, let's huddle up.
Huddle up, boys. We got 11 personnel. I want Gunn, Trey Wright Strong, A-Orbit Hollywood, or 300 box Y stick H through. The San Francisco 49ers ran this play and scored against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's break it down. We're in the shotgun. We got 11 personnel. So 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. Trey right strong. This is our formation. The Y is our tight end. He sets our strength to the right. The Z goes with him off the ball. The A is going to go that way in the slot. X is going to go opposite on the ball, and the halfback is set to the strong side. A orbit. We're going to go ahead and bring that flanker all the way around on motion there so that we can sell the swing route, all right? Hollywood. This is our one-word concept, also known as double snake TED. TED for tight end delay, but we're going to use Kyle Shanahan's terminology here, Hollywood, because everyone is faking. What we're going to do, fake our swing to the flanker to the left. We're going to fake the screen to Christian McCaffrey to the right. George Kittle, our tight end, is going to down block to sell screen, and we're going to pull that play side guard around to sell that as well. But the whole point we want to do here is hit George Kittle up the seam for the tight end delay. Now, if we get any field side pressure, we can go ahead and can this specialty play here with 300 box Y stick H through. We didn't need to do that, though. Kyle Shanahan drawed up a beautiful play. Brock Purdy executed it to perfection, hit George Kittle for a 28-yard touchdown. This is 11 personnel. Gun, Trey Wright strong, A orbit, Hollywood. That was a fun one.
That was any tight end delay play. I don't care if it's in the middle. I don't care if it's the backside. It always works. It always works. Even the slam and slide off the boot, where you play action and boot, tight end blocks down, releases to the flat. He can release to the flat, the middle of the field, opposite, tight end hide. If I was an offensive coordinator, I would call a tight end delay, screen, throwback, whatever, at least twice a game. At least, especially in the red zone. You talk about a play in the red zone that is absolutely lethal. Man, Lions
had 4th and 1 on that
Hollywood,
tight end leap to the backside, won the game a couple of weeks ago.
I'll tell you what, you did a great job of that huddle up, and damn, you look good in that sweater.
You do.
Thank you, sir.
You rock that sweater really
Thank
good.
you, sir.
All right, reminder, we are now taking calls, and we're going to go live with them soon. So go ahead and call in. You can see the number that we tweeted out. Let's go ahead and get to a little bit of an NFL preview here.
Let's do NFL preview, and we still have to get to Blaine's It's Mid before we take call-in. So
let's go. You want to go ahead and get to It's Mid?
It's on him.
You want to
tell us.
Doing speech first, right?
Yeah. Let's go speech.
Yeah. So I won the month yesterday, and apparently since they canceled the NFL game, this will be awfully gold here pretty soon.
So we're going to talk about it.
Pretty excited about it.
There's
no talking about it, to be honest.
There's not been a decision made.
That's why there's a neutral commissioner.
There's no talk. I'm the commissioner.
You're the commissioner?
I'm co-commissioned, to be honest.
Yeah, get your podium over.
Oh, God, that feels good. Can we dim the lights, please?
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go.
Oh, this is amazing. I don't know if there's music playing in the background. But one thing, Cone, will you hit my sound that I hit every time I win a month?
What is that sound?
I would like to thank myself. Thank God. Come on, man. I would like to thank Daily Wire. Yeah. I would like to thank God. And I'd like to thank myself. Oh, God, it's every time I hear that sound, it feels amazing. What a great way to start the new year, to walking in as the champion and winner of the month in betting. Up 20 units halfway through the month, and I thought to myself, it's my job to make this interesting. So did I start selling the bag? I did. I wanted to keep it close. You know why? For you, Booster Club. At the end of the day, I wanted to feel something again. It was getting to the point it was getting too easy. And now to start the new month, I'm going down early just to know what it feels like again, to come back and win again. At this point, I'm done playing around. I might win every month this year. Jake, enjoy being the lead now. Just know, it's a long month, buddy. It's a long month.
Winter's coming.
Yeah, it is. You're watching Game of Thrones right now.
I know, right? That was perfect. All right, good. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and.
Are you admitting it? I'm going to come over here. I'm going to see what people are saying.
This is slowly becoming.
It is.
And get off my lawn because I'm a humble guy.
I should have brought my coffee. I'm kind of upset about it, to be honest.
You want me to get your coffee?
Yeah, that'd be great.
A little hotter upper?
Hey, can we pass it? Hey, pass it to your left, fellas.
All right, here you go, Flaming Dragon. I've only said it twice.
Just don't strangle me, Chris Beard. Calm down.
Yeah, I won't.
All right, it's mid. Mediocre, you know. Oh, yeah, we got a graphic. Beautiful. Beautiful. My beard looks phenomenal in that graphic.
It really does. It really does.
Coming along. I'm going to piss some people off, but that's my job. First thing on the menu right now, it's just in general New Year's resolutions. I'm like, let's be honest here. One, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And two, if you were really serious about it, you wouldn't be announcing it for 8 months coming up. If you're serious about changing something, you know what you do? You do it. All right? You wouldn't tell everybody in the world. You would just do it. All right? So New Year's resolutions, Obviously mid. This one's easy. The Fast and Furious series. Will someone arrest these guys? They've been speeding for 15 years. Where are the police? We don't have fast cars either. I swear, if I have to see Vin Diesel in a white T-shirt flex and look at me and says, we're family one time, I'm going to jump off the nearest bridge I can find. I know the Paul Walker situation was terrible, but at least he didn't get to see what the series turned into. It really took a left turn. You know what I'm saying? Okay, on a serious note, people who think T. Higgins did anything wrong. I thought about this. Obviously, I was praying for Damar Hamlin, but another person that really I thought about in this situation, just because of the backlash he got, was T. Higgins. It was reported that T. Higgins, after this game, hasn't left the hospital since, I believe, yesterday. And just from a mental state, T, I know we never met each other or anything like that, but I do think there's a special bond between football players. Man, you did nothing wrong. It's a freak football accident. And for the people that saying that you did do something wrong, grow up. Bart Scott, look, man, you had a hell of an NFL career, but for you to come on and say that T. Higgins used his helmet as a weapon in this game is not only disappointing to me, but disgusting. I'm not for cancel culture at all, but I do believe if you're bad at your job, you should be fired. And I do think you're bad at your job, and you should be fired, just like football. If you're not good, what? You're cut. So, T, man, at the end of the day, dude, I hope you're in a good mental state. Just know that you did nothing wrong. It was a freak football accident. And at the end of the day, man, you were just playing football. So I just want to get that off my chest. And another one, people who take pictures of their food, stop. No one cares what your food looks like. Just eat it. Just eat your food. There's nothing that makes me mad. Even if it's not me, I'm sitting at a place that I'm eating, and I'll look over, and there's a couple, and I can just tell this guy's ready to eat. I can just tell. Just, hold on, babe, hold on, let me get a picture. No one cares. No one will ever care. You can't find one person in the world who cares what your sushi looks like. Nobody does. Nobody does. My next one, Jim Harbaugh. I'm sick of it.
Whoa.
I'm sick of it. Y'all are slowly turning into the Notre Dame of the playoffs. You get there and just choke it. You haven't won a bowl game in 6 years. 6 years with the teams and the athletes that you have. Sooner or later, man, you just can't win the big game. You just can't. You know, I know something you can do. Go to an SEC team. At the end of the day,
That's what Brian Kelly
what did Brian Kelly do? He knew. I think deep down you know too. It's great to be in Michigan. You beat Ohio State every 6 years, get in the playoffs and lose to TCU. It's Max Duggan. You lost to Max Duggan. And look who y'all got. Y'all lost to these guys. Now I got to go watch Georgia murder TCU in the national championship. So great, Jim Harbaugh. I wouldn't be surprised to go to the NFL, win a bunch of games, and lose a game. That really matters because that's in your DNA. It's like the Super Bowl. All right, now, the last one on this note, on a serious note, we're, what's today?
Like, what do you mean?
What's today?
It's Flaming Dragon Friday.
The 5th?
The 6th.
The 6th. We're 6 days in the New Year's, and we talked about this the other day in All Access. 6 days in the New Year's. My dad's birthday was recently. We already have over 10,000 suicides. I just want to get this message out there. If you're feeling alone or you're going through something, just know that you're not alone. There's always an outlet. There's people you can call to really get you out of the situation and the mental state that you're in. You know, even me, man, even me, if you just need to reach out to anybody, I'm always there to talk to. Just know that you're not alone in this world. And I know it can feel lonely sometimes, but man, there's a lot of people who care about you and love you out here. And I just want to everybody know 10,000 already. That absolutely breaks my heart. Yeah. So that's my It's Mid.
Yeah, dude, good job.
All
man.
right,
That was really good.
I'm going to clap from 80% of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's the truth, Cohen. I need y'all to start winning stuff that matters.
Hey, look, at this point, I'm going to be honest with you. Turning into the Notre Dame of the playoffs, we'll take that from where it was.
Well,
we'll take that from where it was.
The Jim Harbaugh thing and talking about going to the NFL, I was sitting down thinking about this last night. And I know I've said I think he stays in college. Part of me is starting to think he's going to go to the NFL. And here's why, David. I think it's a complex situation. Jim Harbaugh is a complex individual. But I think we can simplify it a little bit. I think this comes down to maybe a little sibling rivalry. Think about this. Jim lost to John, his brother, in the Super Bowl. So every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every get-together, they get there with their dad, who is a famous coach, and I'm sure they have a great time, and I know they love each other, but at some point, do you think Jim looks over there and kind of feels like second fiddle? You know, I feel like that's why he went back to college. I feel like he went to college because if he could win a national championship, that kind of puts him on an even keel with his brother in some way. But part of me still thinks about it like if it was me and Blaine. We love each other, but we're very competitive. If I had to every holiday go down and sit at the table after losing to my brother in the Super Bowl, regardless of how great our relationship is, part of me wants to get that back. And I wonder how many times when, their dad's like, God, I love my sons and got a Super Bowl champion in John, and Jim's a good man, done some good things for a lot of people. Just, the stuff we don't talk about, like in places that you don't want to talk about. Do you think Jim Harbaugh just like stares at the ceiling and it's just like, I've got to get back into the good graces. Maybe going back to the NFL and winning that Super Bowl.
But he was an NFL quarterback. I mean, he was an NFL quarterback, and he's had success. He's had success at both levels.
No championships, though.
Many
no championships.
No, I get it, and you might be right. I feel like he didn't just come back to coach college. He came back to coach his alma mater. That's different. Played quarterback for Bo Schembechler, had an opportunity to be the head coach at the University of Michigan. If he goes back to the NFL, I truly believe it may be because of what you're saying. But I really believe it's going to be because of the state of college football. I think these head football coaches are just tired of the direction the game's headed. They're saying, "Why? I just want to go coach ball."
Well, my thing is, if I'm a coach that's coming from the NFL back to college, I love these rules because it makes it more like the NFL.
Really.
Well, yeah. Think about it. Think about it.
As a head coach in the NFL, you don't have to deal with the contract negotiations. Now, some Bill Belichick's have that GM power. Yeah. But even then, guys are on contract for 4 years.
Yeah. No. I get that.
Every single second of the day have to convince a kid to come.
I get that, and I think you're going to see guys on contracts in college here soon with this NIL stuff. To be honest with you, but NIL and the transfer portal is free agency. That's what it is. Proven commodity that you're paying for. Now, which means now that you can pay high school players, it's like the draft. You're projecting a player, you try and pick that player, get in the best position to get that player to pick you, and you pick that player based mainly on an NIL deal nowadays. That's like the draft. It's to me, I think it's getting closer to the NFL, which I've always wondered, will that bridge the gap for some NFL coaches that, yes, you have to deal with recruiting, but if I'm able to go out there and buy players, am I really recruiting?
It may be closer for the guys the NFL coaches who also want to be GMs, like Bill Belichick. Some don't want to be, but then at the same time, everyone wants control of the personnel you have. That's why we said Nick Saban did come back.
Yeah.
Like, I want 10 first-round draft picks, not 1 first-round draft pick. So some guys are different. I don't know what he's going to do. Like I said, with Jim Harbaugh and Lane Kiffin and we were talking about a couple other guys. Like, it would not shock me. What was it?
Lane Harbaugh?
A couple of these guys, it would not shock me any decision that they ever make in their lives.
No, me either. Like, I'm trying to guess what Jim Harbaugh's going to do. He wears khaki shorts and cleats inside. I mean, come on.
You don't know what he's going to do. A guy who wears cleats inside, you never know.
But I will say this. I don't think getting to the playoff, the college football playoff, and losing is mid, though.
No.
Because we've been mid.
No, yeah, I'm just saying.
That's the case. I'd love to be mid.
Bowl game Jim Harbaugh is mediocre.
Well, recently it's sub-mid, to be honest with you. Sub-mid. But I'll always say this, and I lost 2 state championships before I got to win 1, which I'm grateful for that one. I would still rather get to the big dance and lose than not get there.
You got to give
yourself as much as it hurts, I'd rather get there. Like Tom Brady's been to 10 up, right? Michael Jordan can say he went to 6 finals and never lost a final. That's great. Would he rather have gotten to 10? Tom Brady got to 10 Super Bowls, even though he lost a couple. Still better to get there, right?
Yeah, I agree. All right, it's the moment you've all been waiting for and that you've been ready for. Live Booster Club call-ins. But before we start, remember to keep it clean, no cursing, no vulgarity. It's the trust tree, all right? So we expect you to be able to do this. Your first time calling in, say the word trust tree from here on out. Let's go ahead and do that. But if you can't, your call will immediately be dropped, and you will not be welcome back. David Cohn, first caller. Who is it?
We have Kyle. Kyle is going to be our inaugural Crane and Company caller. Kyle, I need you to set the tone early here and set a good example from everyone. This is Kyle from Texarkana, Texas. Kyle, what you got?
What's up, David Cohn, Dick Crane?
What is up, man?
Dragon.
Yes, sir. Oh, good.
Of course.
You got to kick this off with an OG. Almost 2 years listening to the show now.
That's real. That's love right there.
And so, hey, real quick, love the show. Over or under 99.5 citations issued from people tailgating at the national championship. Because you cannot tell me that some people from Texas and Georgia aren't going to tailgate for a football game. What's next? You're going to tell people from Louisiana you can't eat jambalaya?
Yeah, that's true. Are you going to drive through daiquiri?
Over under, fellas.
If I know the people from Georgia like I know them, and I know the people from Texas like I know them, there's going to be an over on that citation amount, buddy. My biggest thing is, why not just call it a peaceful protest, Kyle? Why don't we peaceful protest with chicken wings, beer, chicken beer.
Chicken beer.
I mean, let's get it. I would just peaceful protest it, Kyle. But you are in the trust tree, Kyle. Welcome to it.
Trust tree, yes, absolutely. Happy to be in the trust tree.
Definitely, man.
Love that.
Well, look, we appreciate your call. Call in anytime, my friend. We appreciate you watching for so long. And look, we're just getting started, man. This is the first drive in the first quarter. We're just trying to set the tone and keep everybody on their toes.
Way to set the tone, Kyle. Thanks for calling in. All right, we have George here from New York. Now, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name of the city here in New York. I'm going to let George do that. George, what you got?
Oh, you didn't want to try Canandaigua?
Canandaigua. Okay.
There it is.
There we go.
Love it.
George of the Concrete Jungle. What's up, buddy?
Morning, guys. Trust Tree, thanks for what you're doing with Daily Wire. Love what you do.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so
George.
much, my friend. Without you guys, there is no us.
Well, part of me wants to know why Jake Crane likes honey mustard on pizza. That's crazy.
Everyone's asking.
Okay. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
But the rest of me wants to know, I grew up in Queens. I'm a Mets fan, Jets fan, Rangers fan. Am I condemned to abject disappointment for the rest of my natural life? Do I need to shift gears?
Well, George, two fantastic questions. I'm going to answer them in the order you asked them. One, I put honey mustard on the crust after I eat the pizza. I want to make sure we understand that. I'm not taking the pizza and dousing it in. It's not honey mustard with a little pizza on it. I dip my crust in it. All right, because look, I eat the normal part of the pizza and then I save the crust for later. All right, look, I'm a red-blooded American male. That's how we do things. That's how I was brought up. But it is a good question. Some people like ranch more than honey mustard there. I just think honey mustard's more versatile. I think honey mustard is the Brock Bowers of the sauces. You can line him up the block. You can hand him the ball. You can throw it to him. He can throw it. Hell, he'll probably sell pizza at halftime. But the second question, being a Mets fan, being a Jets fan, being a Rangers fan, out of those three, and it pains me, it really, really pains me to say this. I feel like the Mets have the best shot, right? I know they always let you guys down.
So.
Yeah, I know they always let you guys down. And as an Auburn fan, I feel your pain on that one, George. But I think the Mets give you, I like Robert Saleh and the Jets. I don't believe in Zach Wilson, the Cougar hunter, even though he rides with the fear. He doesn't throw with it. I would take the Mets with what they've added. I know DeGrom's gone, but what do? You get Verlander and add him to Max Scherzer. You look at the lineup that they have. I don't think you're going to be stuck in objectivity, abstract objectivity, however you want to call it, forever. But I give the Mets the best chance, Tony.
What do you think, Blaine?
Obviously, I think the Mets have the best chance, but I'm most excited about the Jets because just you hit. We'll see about Zach Wilson, but I think he'll be somewhat of a bust. But I do think you'll be able to go out and find a quarterback that you need. But you hit on all your other draft picks.
True.
Sauce Gardner is going to be an absolute problem. There's nothing like he might be the second Darrell Reeves.
Pro Bowler is a rookie.
Yeah, I mean the second Darrell Reeves is coming for the Jets. You hit on the DN from Florida State. I can't remember his name.
Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, you hit on Garrett Wilson's going to be an absolute stud. So you might have missed one big part, but you hit on a lot of other areas. And right now, you have C.J. Mosley playing linebacker, who's an absolute. You have Quentin Williams from Alabama, who might right now top 5 might be the best interior D lineman in the
He may replace Aaron Donald.
He is. So it's looking up for the Jets right now. The best right now chance to win is obviously the Mets. You sound Justin Verlander, you throw 95 plus and Mary Kate Upton. This guy needs to be the House of Representatives, to be honest. I'd vote for him. But at the end of the day, I love what the Jets are doing and the identity they have. But yeah, I do think they missed on.
Don't look past the Rangers, boys. Shesterkin in goal. I mean,
oh yeah, they covered for me yesterday.
Let's go. Right? Don't look past them. Now, as a Braves fan, I cannot get behind the Mets. I'm sorry. And I've never been a Jets fan. I grew up a Dolphins fan. But now, my father-in-law's Richard Todd. He donated the Jets helmet back there. I could get behind the Jets. They might need to call Richard to play quarterback a little bit.
Look, they may need it. Maybe he won't be asleep this time when they call him. George, we really appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for supporting and calling anytime, brother. We're always glad to have you.
Thanks.
We got a familiar one here, guys. Sasha is on the line from Austin, Texas. What's going on, Sasha?
Texas.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
There we go. Trust Tree rep, baby.
Trust Tree. I wanted to call and talk to you guys. Flamin' Dragon, I got a question for you on the It's Mid, though. I take pictures of my food, but it's really like after I kill them. Is that the It's Mid part or just the people in the restaurant? And then I need to know if if we have a resolution to the fantasy football championship debacle, because I have to protect my David Cone badge that I've been rocking since the draft. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great one.
So you
Sasha, thank you,
Sasha,
buddy.
so you have a side bet on the winner of the championship?
I do.
Oh, wow. Well, there's a lot
love
at stake. Look, Blaine wants to win the fantasy football championship. I want to win the fantasy football championship. It can't be up to us. It's not fair to even him.
It's up to the app that we play on.
No, this is why we have a commissioner.
We have
This is why we have a commissioner.
who needs to decide what's fair and what's not
Okay.
fair.
I mean, we can walk down this
I mean,
road.
if 9
This is fine.
players
I'm
versus
not
6
happy about
players-
this. I'm not stoked that it ended like this. No one is. All right, it sucks. It does suck. But what are we gonna do? Oh, I'm not drafting some random team to decide who wins. That defeats the whole purpose of having fantasy.
your team you ever.
But you'll
People
play
are going to
9
be
players
sitting,
versus
like,
my
people-
6 guys. Though.
People are going to
play
be
9
sitting
versus
next
6.
week because of the playoffs. And they're going to be sitting next week. There's a reason we did 17 weeks, right? The reason we did this. So, I mean, if anything, like, in my opinion, I pulled up the fantasy, I pulled up the Sleeper app today, and the first thing it said was my name and champion next to it. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It sucks, David. I know. It's unfortunate. No,
I love how you're trying to. I love how you're
things
trying to
happen.
make
I mean,
this
things
like you're
happen in life we're not excited about.
this.
It's like taking a player prop bet and the guy gets thrown out or hurt in the first quarter.
What about? Is it mid to take a picture of your food after you kill it?
After you kill it, I feel like if you kill it, it's different, right? That's that's just the man in you.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's like, look, I'm the same guy. I go kill a deer. We take a picture of it. You know, it's just a way of the road. But if you're in a restaurant and they bring it out to you and whatever it is, and next thing you're just taking pictures using filters and stuff like that, stop it.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about. I don't want to see an arrow through an Egg McMuffin. We're talking about like you actually had to kill something. Sasha, thanks for your time, brother. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You
All right.
too.
All right, we got Travis here. Travis calling in from San Diego. Travis, what do you have for us?
Old wooden ship.
Morning, gentlemen. I've been listening for a couple months now, first-time caller. Grad student at Michigan, and I wanted to ask you all, what are the 3 things that Michigan can do, besides from retaining Jim Harbaugh, to win the national championship next year?
Number one, we appreciate you calling in, brother. Another Michigan man.
There we go.
I
Go
would
blue,
say,
Travis.
Let's each give one. Let's each
Okay.
give one. One to me is to keep chopping wood. You cannot let these couple think about where you are right now to where you were. If I would have told you you guys are where you are right now 3-4 years ago, especially 3 years ago, when the AD walked into Jim Harbaugh and said, I want some of this money back because you're not doing what you told me you were going to do, J.G. Wentworth, I want it and I want it now. And I told you you'd have made the playoffs twice in a row, including winning 13 games, beating Ohio State twice, totally flipping the script. You would have probably taken that. So while there are things you can always change and you can always evolve and do things better and do things more efficiently, y'all have got to keep doing the things that have brought y'all here. You've been 1 game away, which is a whole hell of a lot closer than 99.999% of the rest of the college football world. So while you can adjust, don't remember, dance with the one that brought you and keep your identity of physicality, all right? Run to pass and guys on defense that are able to come downhill and you're good up front. Those are the things that not only win now, they win later.
I think Michigan needs to get their playmakers the ball behind the line of scrimmage more. They were doing this a lot at the beginning of the season. Braylon Edwards isn't out there for Michigan, right? Yeah. You don't have this big, true X wide receiver who's going to get 20 targets a game or something like that. So we were getting Ronnie the Bell and Andrell Anthony, who's now in the transfer portal, the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Roman Wilson had a couple touchdowns where he caught the ball on screen passes and tunnel screens.
Should have had one where he caught the ball.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, I think that we need to get those guys the ball in space a little bit more. You saw Urban Meyer do this for decades with the Percy Harvin type guys, and honestly, using J.J. McCarthy's legs. Now, of course, when J.J. McCarthy goes out on a scramble and gets hurt in week 3 next year, that would be a bad situation. But J.J. McCarthy won the starting job for a reason, right? Because he was able to utilize his legs. Down the stretch of the season, there weren't that many Q powers. He wasn't pulling the football in zone read, scrambling every now and then, but scrambling to try and make a play is not the type of quarterback runs I want to see from him. Yeah. I want to see a little bit more design run.
I would say you have to you have to get D linemen and linebackers at the end of the day. You have to win the box on defense. Let's look at what Georgia's doing. What is Georgia doing? D-line and linebackers. At the end of the day, you saw last year and even this year, even though they didn't have a great game against Ohio State, big, physical, and fast. The reason you lost to TCU is not because your offense. I know J.J. McCarthy did throw 2 pick sixes, which sucks. But you gave up 51 points. You gave up 6.7 yards per carry. You gave up 270 rushing yards against a TCU team. And Michigan's supposed to be built on what? Physicality. strength, right? At the end of the day, you want to take yourself to the top. It starts on where? Defense wins what? Defense wins championships.
Thank you, Travis.
Travis, thanks, buddy. Call in anytime.
Go blue, Travis.
Thank you. Hey, quick.
Oh, let's go ahead to the next one.
Call back in. Call back in, buddy. All right, we have Mike. Mike's calling in from Colorado. Nice. Hey, Mike, what do you have for us?
Hey, good morning, fellas. Love the show. And just want to say to Flaming Dragon, I knew as soon as you called for Coach Prime to be the Auburn head coach that I wanted him in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so I want to ask you, with TCU having the big turnaround they did this year, who's the team you can see doing that next year, and why is it my Colorado Buffs?
Mm-hmm. Well, look, the thing about it, what's great about the Colorado is like you're becoming relevant, right? You are now in the spotlight, and half the battle is being in the spotlight and being talked about. And Prime, one, he has to make good hires on coordinators, which I think he's done already. And one, you have a quarterback already came in. And two, you're going to have players coming there just because of the spotlight that's on Prime. Colorado's going to be back. I don't know if it's next year, but it's going to be in the next couple of years. Do I think this is a stopgap hire for Prime? I do. I think he wants a big-time job. I don't think it's going to be Florida State with Mike Norvell's doing. But right now, if you're a Colorado fan, you have to be the most excited you've been in a long time because you're going to be in a Pac-12 conference right now, doesn't play defense and scores points. And I tell you what, with the guys Prime can bring in there, y'all can turn this around, transfer portal, recruiting, whatever it is. Next year, you're going to see a huge improvement, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to say this too, Mike. You know what's funny? Everybody keeps talking about, well, Prime's going to use Colorado to get to his next job. Colorado's going to use Prime to stay relevant. Yep. That's a two-way street. Yep. Nobody talks about Colorado using this Prime bubble, these PR headlines, being relevant. Guys wanting to go play there, Travis Hunter, players like that. Now, all of a sudden, if Prime does go somewhere else after 2 or 3 years and Colorado's successful, and I don't know, maybe they're in the Big 12 or maybe they're still in the Pac-12 with no USC or UCLA, well, now you guys just leveled up, and that next big-time head coach sees the Colorado job a whole hell of a lot different than he did before Prime took it. So you guys, it's like they built a Publix right next to your brand new neighborhood. The price of your house just went up, baby. The land's going to cost more when you sell it. You're going to have schools that are being built, maybe even a government building and a firehouse. So if I'm a Colorado fan, I'm super duper excited right now.
I agree. Thanks for calling in, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Let's go to James here. James from my home state, the Peach State of Georgia. What you got for us, James?
Maybe a giant peach.
Sir, thank you for taking my call. I wanted to say that y'all have absolutely got the greatest show I've ever watched. The mid segment had me doubled over. And second, Blaine, I've since when you said do not ever count Stetson Bennett out, that's all I keep telling everybody here, no matter what happens or when it happens. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Georgia, they're not playing too good this morning." I said, don't ever count Stetson Bennett out, and they will win the championship. And thanks for having the greatest morning show ever.
Hey, appreciate you so much, man. That means the world to us.
I had to look, James. I had to learn it the hard way, man. From week one, I counted them out. Week one against Oregon, they absolutely steamrolled. From there on, I looked in the mirror, and made a promise to myself: I will never doubt Georgia again. Stetson Bennett is the exception. I mean, he might be 33 years old at the end of the day, but this guy, when the pressure's at its highest, there's not a moment that's too big for Stetson Bennett. There's not. He might not be the most athletic. He might not be the most cerebral. But that kid will get back in that pocket, take hits, and get the job done at the end of the day. And he plays with an identity. He plays within the offense. And as a Kirby Smart, as a head coach, that's exactly what you want from your quarterback.
Yeah, James, Eric Ainge checks under his bed for Stetson Bennett.
Oh, absolutely. He's from Georgia. They got heart.
Mm-hmm. They do.
That beats talent every day. I swear it does.
Yeah, and if you blend the two together, you never lose. That's the trick.
It shows on the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, James, thanks so much, man.
What he did again. All right, yeah.
All right, so we have Paul here from South. See if Paul from South Dakota is going to bring up.
Shout out to Cone. You're the only guy from the team up north that I can talk about that team. It's not worth talking about. It's not the FBS. I'm not a fool like that. But the country at South Dakota State turned down a six-figure deal to go play for Saban just to stay at South Dakota State, and who is they're just littered with NFL talent. And I just want to kind of get what your thoughts are. Is it on your guys' radar? And if it is, what do you guys got for a game?
Yeah, well, look, we had number one. Thanks for the call. Shout out to the Dakotas. Look, are we sleeping on how good of a football just region the Dakotas are?
Oh,
I mean, but it's not even just football, guys. Look at basketball. South Dakota State in basketball is elite. But when I look at this game, it's hard not. I know South Dakota State's 5.5-point favorite, somewhere around there. It's hard for me not to pick North Dakota State. This game, this team is built to win this championship. But when it comes to FCS and FBS, there is some fantastic football and footballers at Montana State. Love keeping up with that. Love keeping up with him. It's football, and it's high-level football. We've seen, look at Trey Lance. You know, I know Carson Wentz hadn't really turned out how people thought, but you can go through, Christian Watson, you can go through and find FCS guys, not just from North Dakota State, that are outstanding. I'm going to take North Dakota State to win in this game because I think it's just who they are. I know. But again, if you know the saying,
dagger.
I know. Look, you know the saying though. If I want to make people happy, I'd sell ice cream for a living. I like North Dakota State in this one. Would not be shocked at all if South Dakota State didn't win. I just want it to be a good game. But if it's close at the end, I like North Dakota State.
I'll take that dagger out. Give me South Dakota State.
Okay.
Yeah, and they played this season, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
I want the experience at quarterback. What was it, Mark Gronowski? I think Mark Gronowski at quarterback. I mean, the kid's
Mark Gronowski.
4 interceptions, over 2,000 yards. And I think their defense, at the end of the day, it's going to be close. We all know when these two teams get together, it's going to be close. But at the end of the day, the fourth quarter, when it matters the most, the defense makes the play. South Dakota State, give it to me, baby. Take it home.
Number one defense in the country.
Come on, let's go.
2 quick points. That's right. 2 quick points. First of all, to your friend at Montana State, that's the wide receivers coach. I'm not sure. Do they have wide receivers there? Because they cannot throw the ball. So he might want to be looking for a job. And second of all, what about Tucker Kraft? Tucker Kraft, the number 2 tight end on every big board. Yeah. Do you realize that guy played 9-man football growing up?
Well, the thing is, too, look, Leighton Vander Esch, I think, played 6-man football, the starting Mike for the Cowboys. I know he's been beat up a lot. Look, this is what I always say. There are great football players everywhere. I've seen great football players come out of 1A. I've seen great football players come out of 6A. If you're good enough, they're going to find you, especially nowadays. I love what Tucker's been able to do, and he's the hardest thing to find, right? He's a tight end that can do both. Just like on defense, it's hard to find a nickel that can set the edge in the run, be a good tackler, be physical, and then go guard the slot.
And cover
Dax Hill was a great example of that.
Tucker Kraft
or Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
Jabril Peppers was even a better example.
Grown-ass man.
Yeah, grown-ass man.
But thanks so much for your call.
Thanks for your call, Paul. I'm going to take South Dakota State as well, and I'm going to give you a go blue. Okay, that's what I'm going to give you.
Thank you.
That's all we got for call-ins today, boys. But I thought that was
awesome.
Pretty well.
Thanks
for calling in, y'all.
Yeah, thanks everybody for calling in and keeping it clean. That was easy. Into the trust tree, we got Steve Deace.
Steve Deace is coming in. What's the Booster Club saying?
Let's go to the booster.
All right, yeah, let's get. We got some donations here that I probably missed, but I'm going to get to now. James Stallings with a $2 donation.
Thank you, James.
Appreciate it. He says Auburn getting linemen. Pinch me, am I dreaming?
I know. Gunnar Britton. I think he's the number 5 tackle, I think, in the transfer portal. Overall, he gave up like 1.7% pressure as a left tackle at Western Kentucky. These are the guys that Auburn has not got. One of the reasons Gus Malzahn was fired. It's one of the reasons that Brian Harsin, lasted about as long as the hiccups. It's because they couldn't get the linemen, not only on the interior, but on the edge, the tackles. I know Derek Hall wins championships. Talent gets you in the door. Depth wins you champion. And the number 5 offensive lineman, now a tackle from Western Kentucky. Hugh Freeze knows what he has to have. He knows on the edge. Long way to go. Long way to go, but that's the quickest way to bridge the gap between what you've seen from Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State. It's linemen. But a way that we like to bridge the gap, that's another way of saying segue.
Well done.
If you're an author, is our buddy from the Steve Deace Show. Still rocking the Michigan Jumpman after a tough loss against TCU.
New Year, thanks for having me.
Definitely. It's always. We talked about the Skip Bayless situation and the tweet on Twitter. And look, I'm not part of cancel culture, man. You know that. I know you. Time and a place for everything. I kind of liken it to, all of a sudden if somebody calls you and say, hey, your wife just got in a car accident, the first thing you don't ask is where do you fall a little bit on that? I think there's a level of respect that doesn't make you soft or doesn't make you woke. It makes you prepared.
When you hire the guy who first got famous accusing Troy Aikman of being gay 30 years ago.
That's true.
When you hire people and their reputations precede them, you take on that baggage and it is what it is. And I got it. And, for Shannon, I'm a multimillionaire, but are being created and an alternative market is being clamored for, because much debate or embrace debate that is just contrived explicitly for the Twitterati mob approval talking points that no one cares about.
Man, that's such a great answer. I agree with you 100%. All right, let's get to Michigan, Steve, because, when we had you last, we were kind of previewing, how it was going to go down, what was going to happen. And a lot of what we talked about actually came to fruition. What I look at, the game comes down to a couple things. It comes down to turnovers. We know that. We know that penalties are big, but the red zone, and not only the red zone late, but the red zone early. Michigan came out and threw a right hook the first play of the game on an ISO for about 60 yards and then got down there and got cute. I feel like they lost that game within the first 7 minutes, as crazy as that sounds, because TCU started to believe. Then you get the pick six and you start to think you're the better team.
I agree. This was a lot like a college basketball game in the NCAA tournament. And can one team force its tempo on the other? The mistakes that you talked about allowed TCU to force its tempo on Michigan. And let me just say, first and foremost, their coaches way out-coached ours. When you go, I watched much of the game using the all-22 footage, because the eye in the sky doesn't lie.
Yep.
They were just rushing 4, maybe 5 all game long. They just disguised where those guys were coming from. Those guys might come late. And by now, our guards, our interior line is kind of committed to a double team or a pull. And so it's too late to adjust to their stunting. It's not like we had a month to look at the film and see that they might do that. They forced us into a lot of mistakes. So I want to make sure I give them credit first and foremost. With that said, the fact that we had the ball with a chance to win this game after we made at least a half a dozen existential mistakes in this game indicates who the more talented team was.
Yeah.
And if you look at, we just persisted the entire first half, even though they were stunting into all those interior gaps. We still persisted with this "we're more man than you" arrogance and wasted an entire half. Yep. In the second, we run the quarterback with the 4.5 40-yard dash. We start getting the speed back on counters and out on the edges. We start running play actions off of that, and lo and behold, we put up 40 points and a half and 400 yards. Imagine if we had done that the entire game. So, Michigan made more mistakes in that game than it had the entire season. But I also think TCU gets credit for at least a portion of those mistakes. But they also made reducing errors that are inexplicable. Like, let me go from running it down your throat to Philly special at 4th and 1 when I have all these tight ends and everything and a running quarterback. I mean, I think that in the end, TCU had the eye of the tiger of being told for 3 weeks, you suck and you don't belong. And the pressure now that they lost a game in the Big 12 championship game and still got in, that pressure was off. I always go back to when I was a kid, and I think it was Arkansas lost a bad SEC tournament championship game to Mississippi State, got ran off the floor, and then came right back. And Nolan Richardson's like, that'll refocus our team. The pressure is off now. Comes back, and they just blitzkrieged everybody all the way to the NCAA tournament championship, right? Yeah. And I think TCU kind of had that MO. And I think Michigan came in already, we're going to save JJ again because it's just like playing another Big Ten team, and we'll save him for Georgia next week. And it wasn't until halftime they were like, oh, bleep, we're in a real game. Throw everything out there. And it nearly worked, but they had dug themselves too big of a hole.
Yeah, in the era where you're allowed to push the quarterback forward on a QB sneak at the half-yard line, how you don't quarterback sneak it every single play, I'll never understand, David.
Do not understand. I told my dad, I said, if they line up in shotgun on this play, because it had just gotten called back from the touchdown, already a travesty. If they line up in shotgun on this play, I'm turning the rest of the game off. And the second part of it was, if it's not a QB sneak, I'm going to want to turn the rest of the game off. Well, at least they lined up under center, Steve. But then we fumble the ball. I was thinking about you, buddy, during the Fiesta Bowl. Emotions were certainly high in the Cone household. And then following that loss, we get the obligatory Jim Harbaugh to the NFL news, which we get every year. Despite the fact this past contract extension, he was adamant he wants to be and is going to be at the University of Michigan. And then news broke yesterday about NCAA investigations. What are your thoughts here heading into the offseason?
Let me start with the latter first. You see the hat here I'm wearing? I wore it for this question. All right. Here's my response to the NCAA. F those guys.
Yeah. The only Penny Hardaway.
The only thing Jim Harbaugh should have said to them is, when Will Wade stops coaching college basketball, I'll answer your questions about whether I had guys work out on Zoom in a non-evaluation period. How you like them apples? That's the only answer. They're a joke. Bill Self literally ran a money laundering scheme. All right.
Unbelievable.
I mean, And you just won I just watched him cut down the nets last March. So who cares? Here are my 2 NCAA rules. Don't turn your school into don't ruin the academic integrity of a university. Don't have thugs that are a menace to the community and the campus society. Other than that, I don't give a rip. All right. You're out there making $100 million a year, $1 billion a year from TV deals and everything. I don't care about any of that stuff. And, Bud Elliott over there at 24/7 Sports has been openly talking in their recruiting coverages about dropping bags for recruits for years. Has Tennessee, they lost anything for dropping McDonald's bags? Screw those guys. I don't care about any of that. The other thing in the NFL, I think the other thing just comes down to Guinevere loves Lancelot and Arthur both. Okay, sincerely. And Michigan is Arthur, and the NFL is Lancelot. I'm sure it is difficult when you were the superior athlete to your brother. You were the better player. Heisman Trophy finalist, first-round draft pick, won playoff games with multiple NFL teams. You're in the Colts Ring of Honor, and yet your brother every Thanksgiving or Christmas drops down a Super Bowl on your ass.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And so when these NFL teams come a couple of years ago, he was trying to get out of Michigan before the posse arrived. But the last 2 years, when the NFL, when that opportunity to get that, I get it as a dude. I understand that. But I really think he will be the coach at Michigan, at least until J.J. McCarthy exhausts his eligibility, because I think he realized he finally has his quarterback. Next year, I think, will be the best team he's had yet. I told you guys last year at this time, we would be better this season than we were with the team we just had. I'm telling you right now, next year is, on paper, in terms of talent and depth, the best Michigan team that we have had, probably going back to the late 1990s. It'll be his best team overall. And the schedule looks an awful lot like this year's schedule, but with Ohio State at home. Okay, so I think this is a more serious thing after next season, particularly, and I think they'll be no lower than like preseason number 2, guys. Look at the teams that are going to finish in the top 7 or 8 of the AP poll. I think we're the only one with the starting quarterback coming back, and he's a guy that Dane Brugler, the outstanding draft analyst over at The Athletic, thinks could be the number 1 pick in the draft with the right kind of development. So I think that next year, if we finally take that last step, I could see it. And I'm also told, by the way, that very soon, and I don't think it's any coincidence that it's on the heels of this NCAA BS, Michigan is going to announce the mother of all NIL collectives for existing players. It'll be the new standard for what will happen going forward. That's what I think is occur.
Yeah, which I can't get mad at him. I'm not a huge fan of the collective. I think it goes against really what NIL is, name, image, and likeness. If Bryce Young wants to go do a commercial with Dr. Pepper in Fansville, I'm fine. That's between Bryce Young and Dr. Pepper. But you got to do it now. You got to do it.
But if
we're not going to police guys,
I'm with you.
There you go.
If we're not going to police guys for saying on an FBI wiretap, I made a strong ass offer.
Yep.
Nothing happens. If that's the game, then like I said a minute ago, F those guys.
Yeah.
Fine.
But Steve,
we got the biggest alumni base and endowment. We'll play that game now.
Yeah, but Steve, you can't work out on a Zoom during the dead period. But like you said, you can drop the bag to recruits. It's hypocrisy at its highest level, bureaucracy and stupidity at its highest level. Flaming.
What's up, Cody? You got something else?
I want to ask an NFL question, but I want you to go first.
Okay, yeah, I know we're talking about Michigan and what happened to the TCU game, but I want to get your thoughts on what we're going to see in the national championship game between Georgia and TCU. 13.5-point spread. Steve, that's a lot of points. Can TCU pull this one out?
I think that's way too many points. I do. I think Georgia's defense is not what it was a year ago, and it could not be. That's one of the 3-4 best defenses in the last 40, 50 years of college football, okay? It's just now, like, excellent, okay?
Yeah.
But excellent defense against today's college football elite offenses still is going to give up 30, 40 points. And the thing that, if I was a Georgia fan, I'd be concerned about in this game is Max Duggan didn't play great against Michigan. Made several mistakes. Now, he made several big plays and throws too. But like the biggest throw of the game he made, Quentin Johnson just took advantage of DJ Turner taking a tackle angle and ran down the sidelines. Max Duggan can play a lot better than what he played against Michigan. Now, some of it was he was playing the best defense he was playing all year too, but there's at least, that was like his C+ game. He can at least get to a B-, and I'd be a little concerned about that. TCU's outstanding tailback got hurt in the game too. So is he able to come back and be 100%? That's a 1,400-yard rush guy. And this Georgia team actually wants to play TCU's tempo. Like, I could see Georgia get up 28-14, 31-10, and TCU's like, all right, we're playing at our tempo. We just need another touchdown or two. It's like a basketball game. We're just playing possessions now. And so I do think in the end Georgia will win, but I think the 13.5 points is too many points, especially that kind of an offense. You're begging for a backdoor cover.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask quickly, Steve, about we saw the situation with Damar Hamlin, the Bills safety in the NFL this week, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that, as well as the NFL not resuming the Bills and Bengals game, to determine the AFC seeding. What are your thoughts there?
I think on the latter point, you have to go with what you're seeing and hearing on the ground from the players and the coaches that were the most directly and personally impacted by. All right, we're not, I know that all these guys have Twitter accounts, and even with their big muscles, sometimes they come across as snowflakes, right? But we're still talking about the closest thing we have in our modern society to gladiators. And these guys see violence and limbs breaking all the time. To see them at that stage of vulnerability with mortality staring them right all in the face, I just think you have to absolutely defer to what you're seeing from your players and assets on the ground when they're saying, we're just too broken, man, to go on. It's just not right. So on that front, I think that was the right call. As to what precipitated this, there are one of two options. One, that despite getting the best healthcare in the private sector on planet Earth with the most health monitoring you could possibly have, a 24-year-old with a pre-existing condition or a freak play, despite the fact it was a hit that happens 100 times every week in the NFL, just had a cardiac event, and it happens. The 1 in a million event, it could happen. That's a possibility. The other possibility is there are countries all over the world that have seen videos like that at sporting events for the last couple of years. And maybe it's time to start asking ourselves, has something happened or occurred or been injected into the populace in the last couple of years that might make you think, why are we seeing a bunch of people in their prime suddenly behave and act this way? I don't know which it is, but I do know that I think it's only one of those two. And if I was the NFLPA and those were my players, I damn well want to make sure we find out which one it is. Either our screening process for cardiac events needs to dramatically be tightened up and improved, because now you got J.J. Watt, remember, pulling himself out earlier this year for a cardiac issue, remember, all right? Mm-hmm. So we either need to better screen preemptively for those things, or we need to find out if there's been a change in our procedures the last couple of years that has been noted by numerous studies to include added vulnerability to cardiac events.
Yeah.
Wow.
Steve, great stuff, man. We love having you on, brother. We'd love to get you on again soon. Look, it's basketball season now, and guess what? Michigan's good. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah. Juwan Howard, they're not just throwing punches after the game now to other coaches. They're doing it during the game. Steve, the Steve Deace Show, we really appreciate you, buddy. Tell everybody where they can find your work. I know Blaze TV, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Maybe I'll just tell everywhere where they can find it.
Yeah, just look at Steve Deace Show, DEACE, over on iTunes and Google and Stitcher and Spotify and Amazon. Get the podcast and look us up there. You better, at Steve Deace Show on Twitter.
Steve, thank you so much, my friend.
Go Blue, buddy.
You bet, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right. Also, if you haven't gone and got some Crane and Company merch.
What, like this?
Like this right here? Like that? Like I have some, but I'm not wearing it, but it's definitely at the house. Go to thedailywire.com. It's under collections. Vera Wang has a collection. Armani, Gucci.
I don't know.
I
don't trust those people.
No, I'm just saying they have one. It's not as good as ours. Flaming Dragon, calm down.
Yeah.
And we have Jeff Foxworthy coming on Monday. Ooh. Georgia fan, previewing in the national championship. And we're going to play a game of You Might Be a College Football Fan If. Which, yes, is a playoff You Might Be a Redneck If.
What?
But it's pretty funny. And he's going to grade how we did.
Yes.
So we're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. We also are going to see what's going on with betting as my left leg is totally asleep. I'm going to pretend not to show it to you guys, even though I just verbalized. There it is.
Here.
It's gone. There it is. Thank you.
Oh, that was cute.
Yeah, that was really cute, wasn't it? All right, it's Friday. So, guys, we have the Booster Club leaderboard. All right, remember, I send out the tweets and the Facebooks and the Snapchats.
Crackle Pop.
And, yeah, it's exactly all the time.
Dilly.
So you fill out the Google form underneath it, and we're able to track it and throw a great meme out there. By the way, the Blaine's Mustache Twitter account said the meme sesh is on for 2023.
Well, meme sesh on?
He made a meme of me standing in front of the podium.
Well, no, that was him.
That was him. Well, him is me.
Nah.
Not when you don't have the mustache.
Well, he's been kind of treacherous lately on Twitter. So.
Whoa.
Yeah, I told him.
Okay.
I told him.
All right, I'm sure there will be a meme made of that. Here we go. Kyle Jenkins, Cody Nason, the graphic king or the king of getting graphic. Depends on which court report you're able to look at. Bent Johnson, Sean Kett, that's our boy, Sean Kett Z23, Revco 250, doing the Lord's work. EJ Runis, they're all 1-0. All right, you got to get to 12-0. The odds are capped at minus 200. It's got to be that or underneath it. Sasha, who called in earlier. Michael Nisley, they're both 0-1. Portmanteau, it's 0-3. And our girl, Booster Club Royalty,
Sorry,
the queen,
Sister
Sister Rigby, 0-4. But remember, guys, if you don't know,
then you do know.
That's a big thing. Bets for tonight. After UAB looked me in the eyes, up late, decided to lose the game, never forgive you. You didn't hire Bryant Vincent either. You're dead to me. Congratulations. Tonight, Wright State, Stanford. There's nothing to bet on tonight. Let me go ahead and read them, though. Wright State and Stanford, that's one parlay, is plus 100. And then, in the parlay they never saw coming this summer, Siena, Cornell, Moneyline, Akron, Ball State, over 133, plus 260 in the summer. There's a city. That's what we got. Giants.
I love it.
All right, Coney, what do you got?
How about hockey? How about a little hockey, boys? You guys see the Preds game last night?
No.
I didn't. Had to hear about it this morning.
There was more saves than a Life Alert commercial.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Preds big win on the road. So you know what? I'm going to go Preds money line on the road at Caps. That's plus 130. We get into the plus money there. And then how about the Winnipeg Jets playing some extreme hockey at home, money line, plus 110. Both dog bets. Neither will hit.
I was in the gym getting a pump watching the Caps game. They're pretty good. Pretty good. But you always got to believe in the Predators. All right, give me, 2-0 yesterday. Somehow that soccer bet hit. I haven't watched a single second of soccer.
That's 1-0.
Man City. Congratulations, Grizzlies. John Morant, you my dog. Let's go. Bucks, money line. Flames, money line. Plus 110. I'm liking the NBA hockey mix.
That's an interesting. It's like a calico cat.
Put liquid paper on a beat.
Interesting to look at.
It died. And then give me Princeton and Stanford, money line, minus 108. I'm trying to remember what I said.
You said Princeford. When I asked you, when I was writing the bets on the board, I was like, Blaine, what's your bet? He goes, I got Princeford. I was like, there's a Prince here?
We're in plus money now, fellas.
Yeah, look.
Again, now the games begin.
Yeah,
the games misdoing.
It's an emotional time. We need to get a tally. I think I won the most months last year by one.
There's a tally.
There's a tally. I just haven't seen it. Maybe. We'll check it out.
All
Booster Club, Flaming Dragon.
Let's go to Lincoln Meltz with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Abe. If Jim Harbaugh gets hired in the NFL, should his first call to be Cone to be his QB1?
I don't think so. We got a good gig going here.
Yeah, okay. Listen, you got another child on the way. Darby needs you at the crib.
Well, it depends what franchise. What are we talking here?
Well, can you do the show while you're playing?
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to act like...
funny.
I don't want to act like I'm too good to play for any of the franchises. I would never pitch for the Mets, but any NFL franchise.
How much do you want to bet if Jim Harbaugh went to the Colts and had Cone as his number one quarterback, everybody in Indianapolis would be pissed that they thought they re-signed Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. That would work out like that.
All right, let's go to Kev Sitz with the $2 donation. Appreciate it, Kev. He says, DK, DFS head-to-head for tiebreak. Love the calls. Is that Donkey Kong?
No, it's DraftKings Daily Fantasy.
No.
That's what I think it should be.
No.
I think,
what are you picking random players to decide fantasy league?
Okay, so wait a minute. So this is like saying, we don't know who the best shooter's on the team, so y'all are going to play horse. It's not exactly the same thing, but it kind of is.
It's not. You drafted a fantasy team for a reason.
The commissioner.
You're drafting a fantasy team for the daily
commissioner solutions that I saw the most online yesterday was taking the average points that the players who didn't play scored throughout the season.
We got to ask our commissioner. This is what it's going to come down to.
No. It's all about matchups. It's fantasy.
This isn't Batman. It's not like he got kidnapped.
I'm not going to sit here while we make up rules to decide who wins. Sometimes in fantasy, bad stuff happens. You get unlucky. Cone, you got unlucky, buddy.
9 players versus 6 players.
Well, did I do it?
Wow,
did I do it? No, I didn't.
Part of me thinks you did.
I didn't. It just happens, man. I don't, this smells funny to me and I don't like it. I don't feel like this is the way we settle things. I think there's honor amongst men. This is the trust tree, and I really feel like there has
to be. The funny part is if the roles were reversed,
I
would be saying, I would still be saying what I'm saying,
Blaine,
but he would be apoplectic.
No, Blaine would
accusations.
Blaine would be kneeing at the Capitol.
He wouldn't be here.
No, he wouldn't be here. He would have done what he would have gone and like started throwing whatever they were on those famous paintings in Europe.
Say what you want.
Say
what you want. I'm dying on this hill. So let's go to Ryan Gay with a $20 donation. So the Christmas present to my dad was tickets for the West Virginia-Kentucky game this Saturday. The Coliseum is always a great atmosphere, but it's absolutely insane when the Jayhawks come to town. What are your favorite venues in college basketball?
First off, that is an absolutely kick-ass present.
Yeah.
That's cool. My favorite venues, Jordan Hare is easy. That's where I'm from. That's low-hanging fruit. I really enjoyed Coors Field in Major League, going to watch the Rockies play. maybe it wasn't just because of the atmosphere.
Oh, just college basketball?
Oh, just college basketball. I thought we were talking about in general. Well, the thin air, watching batting practice there was fantastic. Look, obviously Rupp Arena. I've been there one time. It reminded me of a football game that they just happened to play basketball at from an atmosphere standpoint. Other college basketball places that I'd love to see, I would love to go see where Gonzaga plays so I can watch volleyball lines on the court and watch their parents sell sour punch straws at halftime because it's basically a high school game. But from just nuts, I'd love to go see a West Virginia anything game, to be honest with you. Any fan base that burns furniture after they win, I'm so down to go see. I tell you what, man, the Tad Pad in Oxford, when we went and watched it that one time, was kind of jumping. Yeah. But yeah, I would say Rupp. I know that's low-hanging fruit, but give me Rupp.
Coney, you got one?
Have you been to Cameron?
No,
I haven't
love
either.
to go to Cameron.
I would love to go to Cameron Indoor.
In Arizona,
Coleman Coliseum. I like Coleman Coliseum.
The Arizona's one's pretty sweet.
I haven't been to that one.
Me neither. I heard it's pretty cool, though. Ralph Denver says, came for Shapiro, stay for Knowles, subscribes for Crane & Company. Thank you, you freaking stud.
Strong.
You're a stud, Ralph.
Strong.
Manuel C says, God, I missed the show. Well, welcome back. Take a seat.
Emmanuel, I haven't
drink.
Emmanuel
Here's a cigar,
seen you lately.
some bourbon. Let's go to Garrett Frank. He says, I have nothing against the guest, but I am disappointed that the show couldn't find a single TCU writer to talk this week. 247. Look, we tried.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. You know us. We're going to tell you the truth. Like, we looked around. As somebody, though, that has been on the TCU bandwagon, I feel like I've carried the load when it comes to TCU. But it's an interesting situation with TCU when it comes from a media and PR perspective. Because everybody knows who TCU is, but it's still not a humongous, like a network. We were thinking of former players to try and get on, and coaches. Gary Patterson is probably too soon right now. I mean, the first year you leave, they're playing for the national championship. Yeah. # were you the problem? I don't know. Do you lick your lips too much and make me think you're from Slytherin? Yes. Andy Dalton, they're still in the they're still playing the season right now. The other ginger quarterback they had that had a lot of success. But I will tell you this. I am going to get Jamie Dixon, the TCU head basketball coach, on this show. They're having a really good year. I think he's a daggum good coach. Remember, he was at Pittsburgh, I believe, and then left. I need to get Jamie Dixon on TCU Hoops.
All right, let's go to Digital Champion. It says, is Bill O'Brien going to stay at Alabama?
I think he's going to end up going back to the NFL, and then he's going to be the next head coach at Alabama. I'll continue to say it. People say, oh, Jake, you're crazy. Saban is going to pick who the next head coach at Alabama is, and it's not going to be Lane Kiffin. Okay? I'm just telling you guys right now. You might as well get that pipe dream out of your head. You don't go from running it like the military to running it like the Playboy Mansion and think that it's still going to work. The guy's not going to hand it off to Lane Kiffin. I think Bill O'Brien will go be a coordinator in the NFL. I think he'll be a coordinator in the NFL for 2 to 3 years, have some success, and then end up being the head coach at Alabama. Remember, I said that.
All right, Combe, RN. Says Michigan had a top offensive line and a top defense this year. Then we played a fast and athletic TCU team and got embarrassed. Can Michigan win with their current game plan, and how can they recruit to match up with spread offense?
I don't think we got embarrassed. We got embarrassed last year against Georgia. That's what getting embarrassed looks like. This 6-point loss when there was a touchdown called back and you made a bunch of mistakes isn't getting embarrassed to me. And also, look, this is a very good TCU team. The defense played better than I expected. We had Aiden Hutchinson that was gone. We had Ojabo, who was drafted to the NFL. All of a sudden, Jim Harbaugh has proven on the defensive side of the ball this year, Dax Hill was drafted, that he was able to reload, sort of the way that we've been seeing some of these SEC teams do, with bringing in Ibioki, had Mozzie Smith, having Morris off the edge, my boy from Belgrade, Florida. The defense really overperformed, and the secondary, to me, was the best unit that was most improved. And then, having that rushing attack, I still think you can win having a run-first identity. If anything, last year's team was the one where we really didn't know what the identity was. At least this year we did, and the best player on the team, Blake Corum, went down, and you were still able to go on the road and beat Columbus. So, I don't know, it was embarrassing in the sense that Michigan thought they were so much better than TCU they were going to win the game. It wasn't embarrassing from the sense that you got blown out the way you did against Georgia. That was embarrassing.
You didn't get punked. You got punked last year. Ashton Kutcher popped out and said, surprise, you're not supposed to be here. But we appreciate you guys being here. Poll, real quick.
You got to get better at this.
No,
who has a better game? All right, in the national championship, Stetson Bennett or Max Duggan?
Give me Stetson Bennett, 56%.
Stetson Bennett, 57%.
Max Duggan, 52%. Wow. Stetson Bennett, 48%.
They believe.
Happy birthday weekend to Heather and Brooke. Keep leveling up. Other than that, Fat Dad, I'm not going to read that out because I'm getting made fun of if I read it out, but you're damn right.
I'm so interested to see what that is. Appreciate you guys. First day of call-in. Success, boys.
That was fun.
The trust tree. God, part of me wants to do it every day.
Oh, you killed the over, by the way.
Really? Man, first day of call-ins, I feel like there was adversity. There was rain, ball was wet. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Turn that notification bell on. Go to the Daily Wire Plus. Become a member. Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are, right? It's really easy. We appreciate y'all. Best audience in the country. And like our lack of call-ins on the show being a problem, not anymore because we're gone.